Hello, today we'll be looking at two sculptures created by Michelangelo during the High Renaissance period while he was a young artist.
The first sculpture that we will be looking at is Pieta, done by Michelangelo between 1498 and 1500.
What does Pieta even mean?
Pieta means pity or compassion, and this is talking about the pity of Mary and her sadness over the death of her son, Jesus Christ. Now, this sculpture is very popular and
Hmm.
famous within art history because of its realisticness. As you can see, it all looks very real with the body of Jesus Christ, lying limp in the arms and in the lap of his mother Mary. It all looks very real, and you can tell that Michelangelo really did study cadavers and anatomy in the way that he sculpts the body and the muscles of Jesus, of the body of Jesus.
Well, you just said it was very realistic, but Mary's face seems very young. Is she supposed to be the same age as Jesus in this sculpture?
It's interesting that you asked that because in an article on Pieta that was published by How Stuff Works, they say that when Michelangelo himself was asked about this, he said, "Don't you know that chaste women remain far fresher than those who are not chaste? So much more the Virgin, in whom never has the least lascivious desire ever arisen that might alter her body." This was implying that Michelangelo wanted to concentrate on the message that Mary was very pure and that she, through her purity, remained youthful. Again, we can very much see the realness of this sculpture in the wrinkles and curves of Mary's robes. It all looks very realistic. All those deep cuts that Michelangelo was able to do in his sculpting.
Yes, her clothes look very realistic. There's actually a sash on her, and it looks like there's something written on it.
That's interesting that you point that out because there is something written on it. Michelangelo got mad one time because he heard that other people were claiming that this artwork was done by a different artist. He got so mad that in a fit of fury, he inscribed his own name onto Mary's sash so that everybody knew that Michelangelo was the one who sculpted this artwork. He later regretted this very much and he vowed never to sign any of his other works of art ever again.
You can see in this sculpture that Mary doesn't look sad. Her child just died in front of her. Why do you think that?
That is true. Mary doesn't appear to be very sad, or more, her sadness is not exaggerated. Michelangelo wanted to concentrate more on the the idea and the message behind this artwork, and that message was that Jesus sacrificed himself for us so that we could be saved. That is why Mary's left hand is pointing upward and outward, almost as if she's presenting Christ, her son's body, for us so that we might be saved through him.
Another sculpture that Michelangelo did was David in 1501. He took about 3 years to do this project, and as you can see in this sculpture, he actually details the human body very much. If you see in his hands, you can see the veins popping up, and he actually brings back classical art in this. You can see the contrapposto pose that sculpture is making.
Oh, yes, the contrapposto pose that the Greeks and the Romans used.
Yes, you can see the S-shaped position of his body through the angles of his hips and the angles of his shoulders.
That's interesting. Now, this David is inside of a museum, right?
Originally, David was actually placed in front of the Palazzo Vecchio. Michelangelo actually insisted that this sculpture be in front of the town hall because it was a symbol of the Republic. In To Kill the King by David John Farmer, he quotes Michelangelo's diary. Michelangelo says, "A civic hero. He was a warning. Whoever governed Florence should govern justly and defend it bravely. Eyes watchful, the neck of a bull, hands of a killer, the body a reservoir of energy. He stands poised to strike."
It's interesting that you say that because most depictions that I've seen artists do of David show either Goliath's severed head in his hand or David already on top of the defeated Goliath.
Well, Michelangelo in this sculpture wanted to show how David what made the decision to face Goliath.
Another difference between this David and other depictions of David is that Michelangelo showed him as an adult, whereas other ones show David as a young child, as he is in the biblical story. Why is that?
Well, Michelangelo wanted to depict what David thought he was when he was facing Goliath. He wanted to show that David had the confidence that God would bring him to victory. So he depicted a 17-foot statue of an adult David. The reason why David is depicted as nude and only with a slingshot as a weapon is because of how, again, Michelangelo shows that David doesn't need any armor or any powerful weapon to show that God is with him to make him victorious. In this art, we see Michelangelo giving us a new interpretation on how to make a psychological perspective on art.
That's true. He is showing us what is going on inside David's head and projecting it. So instead of just interpreting the story of David and showing the physical realness of it, he is showing the psychological aspect of it.